Hi, I'm Allie. Welcome back to Haven's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making roasted root veggies with lentils and a golden tahini drizzle. I love this recipe because it highlights all of these beautiful fall root vegetables, carrots, sweet potato, beets. It also has a punch of protein from the lentils, so you really feel like you're eating like a full main course, not just a veggie side. There are a couple of tricks to roasting vegetables and getting that maximum kind of caramelized flavor. One of the most important things is that you get even cuts of your vegetables so that they cook evenly. If this recipe sounds like something you'd like to make, be sure to subscribe to see this and all of our future recipe videos. All right, let's get started. All you're really gonna need for this recipe is a sheet pan lined with parchment and a hot oven. The star of this recipe is our golden turmeric tahini, a beautiful golden blend of ground sesame seeds, turmeric, a little sumac, a little lemon, and just like a hint of date, just for a touch of sweetness. It's a perfect match for like the earthy nuttiness of the roasted root vegetables and the really nice earthiness of the lentils. We're gonna cut up some beets, some carrots, some sweet potatoes. Feel free to use any real winter root of your choice. Fennel would be nice in here too if you wanna try that. We're gonna cook our lentils with some veggie broth so it flavors and seasons them from the inside, but we're keeping the whole thing vegetarian and vegan friendly. And then we're gonna top it off with some chopped parsley and some of our golden turmeric tahini. A couple of tips about roasting to bring out the best in your vegetables. Tip number one, even cuts. You really want your vegetables to cook at the same rate. So you don't want little tiny pieces and then bigger pieces because these are gonna burn and these aren't gonna get cooked all the way through. You also want a nice hot oven. Roasting is high, dry heat. That's like 425. You want your oven all the way preheated before you put in the pan. You want a sheet pan, and we like to line our sheet pan with parchment, mostly for cleanup purposes. It's a lot easier after you've roasted. We're also gonna make sure that we coat our vegetables with a nice glug of oil and some salt. That will help it get that caramelized sensation on the outside of the vegetable. One thing I would keep in mind when you're roasting vegetables and you're including beets is we're gonna toss the carrots and the sweet potatoes together with olive oil, and then we're gonna do the beets separately. Just because it's a little nicer, the beets won't bleed onto the other vegetables. They'll kind of stay their dark red color and the orange vegetables will stay their color. We're also gonna do a couple interesting cuts with the vegetables just to keep it super interesting. Of course, you can dice them, you can slice them, but it is nice to do a little bit of a snazzy knife cut, in this case an oblique. So I'll show you how to do that with the sweet potato. So like I always say, you want to choke up on your knife so that you're holding it and you have nice control. And remember when I talk about round vegetables and cutting them, you really want to get a flat surface as soon as possible so your veggie isn't rolling around. And again, you have total control on your vegetable. So we're going to cut the vegetable this way, and this creates two halves. Now what we're going to do is make planks about 1/4 inch. And so we have these nice flat pieces. Okay, then we're gonna create sort of triangles, except we're not gonna have too much of a point at the top of the triangle. So we're just gonna create something like that. And then again, we're not going all the way there, we're going here, and these are nice obliques. So to cut an oblique for a carrot, we're just thinking angle, straight, angle, straight. So we have angle, straight, angle, straight. So now we have our sweet potatoes and our carrots cut, kind of fancy cuts. We're gonna give them a nice glug of olive oil, give them a toss, We really want them coated with the olive oil. Again, this will help them get a nice crispy outside. We're gonna salt them a little bit. And my final roasting tip is to make sure that when you put the vegetables onto the sheet pan, they're not all lying on top of each other. You really want to give them their space. That way you'll have as much like maximum heat around all sides of the vegetable and they aren't touching each other and then creating steam. So we really want to give every vegetable the chance to touch the pan directly with as much surface area touching the pan as possible. And that's why we created that little sort of flat side of the carrot too. And we're going to save some room for our beets. If you just think about, surface area and heat, you'll start to get the hang of roasting. Now we're going to take the beets, toss them separately again so that they keep their color and the orange veggies keep their color. Little olive oil, little salt. Give them a toss and add them to the sheet pan. We want them in a nice hot 425 oven for about 25 minutes, half an hour. It really depends on the size of your cuts. If you're doing little dices or thinner slices, it's going to cook a little quicker. The bigger the cut, the longer the time. Okay, so our veggies should be ready. They've been roasting for about 35-40 minutes. Keep an eye on them, especially if you've had smaller cuts. We'll take them out of the oven. So we've got our nice caramelization. We've got a little bit of crisp going on. I love them. Perfect. They're perfectly tender all the way through, but they still have like a little bit of a bite. Now we're just gonna build the plate. And the thing about this dish is you really look like a fancy all-star chef, I gotta say. We're gonna do a beautiful drizzle of our golden tahini, lay out the lentils, put the veggies on top, more tahini, parsley, flaky salt. It's a showstopper of a dish. So there you have it, our beautiful roasted root vegetables with lentils and golden tahini. This is a perfect dish for like the late fall or the winter. You can swap in any root vegetables that you like or that you have around, any of those fall, parsnips, fennel, those types of vegetables. We added in the lentils for nutrients and protein and to make it hearty so it doesn't feel just like a veggie side dish, but it really feels like the main gig. If you enjoyed this recipe, be sure to like this video and subscribe to see all of our future cooking videos. For the full recipe and a textable shopping list, click the link below. Thank you so much for watching and cook happy.